Hello and welcome to the Scientist.com Supplier Virtual Training Series. Today's webinar, the third in a four-part series, is titled Marketing with Scientist.com. Just a few reminders before we begin the presentation. This webinar is being recorded and will be made available to all registrants and attendees within 48 hours after the event. As we all continue to work from home due to the pandemic, we hope you will understand if we run into any technical issues or hear background noise from the speakers. We appreciate your patience and your involvement. If you have any questions during the presentation, please ask them by using the Q&A function, which you should see at the bottom of your Zoom window with the large letters Q&A. Our panelists will answer submitted questions at the end of the presentation. And when the event finishes, we would appreciate if you could fill out a brief survey regarding the experience. We will provide more information about that after the event. Next slide, please. Hi, my name is Sean Precy, and I'll be hosting today's webinar. I'm Scientist.com's Director of Communications, and I have been with the company for nearly 4 years. I oversee all aspects of company-related communications and content. Scientist.com is an online marketplace connecting buyers and sellers within the life sciences industry. We act as a matchmaker between researchers from large and small research organizations and a global network of suppliers that provide custom research products or services, all in an effort to streamline the outsourcing process to create faster science. Scientist.com currently operates over 100 provider marketplaces across pharma, biotech, and academia, including 24 of the top 30 pharmaceutical companies, over 80 biotechs, and channel partners like Bio and the National Institutes of Health. Now, I would like to introduce today's panelists. Our first speaker today is Brian Titus, Senior Director, Supplier Relations. Over the last decade, Brian has been working across multiple industries ranging from personal consumer care, manufacturing, and the life sciences, all within the context of procurement and supplier relationships. Brian joined Scientist.com in 2017 after a 5-year tenure at Merck & Company. Brian's current role within Scientist.com focuses on working with our vast supplier network to ensure that they have all the tools and resources necessary to navigate the platform and maximize their opportunity as a science supplier. He'll be followed by Ghazal Babai, Associate Director of Marketing. Ghazal plays an integral role in the marketing department at Scientist.com, focusing on increasing client adoption through various marketing strategies, collaborating with suppliers on supplier marketing program opportunities, and continuously developing Scientist.com's brand identity through a variety of creative campaigns. Before we dive into the first presentation, benefits of marketing with Scientist.com, I'd like to introduce today's first poll question, which is, what are the top 3 ways you allocate your advertising dollars? Once you answer this question, the screen will disappear. Thank you for participating. And now I'm going to turn it over to Brian.
Thanks, Sean. So with regard to the benefits of marketing through Scientist.com, there are a variety of benefits, but as a preface, it's worth highlighting the importance of what you already have and building from it. Harmonization across your touch points is critical. To lay the groundwork for marketing through Scientist.com, or any third party for that matter, it's worth reiterating that you should leverage what you already have and expand from there. You already have an existing presence, be it from your personal website, your social media posts, or otherwise, and Scientist.com can help you leverage these sources to drive more diverse traffic and sales once we best understand your strategy. Scientist.com has the ability to help you focus your efforts for your target market immediately, as well as enabling you to update your cadence depending on how your priorities and strategies change. Clients, geographies, services can all be somewhat fluid. Let us help. The fact of the matter is that we operate in a crowded industry. And the challenge for most suppliers within the industry is creating a new connection and staying in front of researchers who create the relevant requests. Especially in the COVID age, where face-to-face meetings and conferences are mostly non-existent. These programs have been strategically designed to increase brand awareness and recognition, and have been very successful over the past 1.5 years, as you can see on the statistics on the right screen, as well as the user feedback on the left. It's very easy for researchers to get locked into a pattern and simply go with the same supplier over and over again. So the best way to break the pattern is to improve visibility for new supplier options. And this is what we can provide. It really comes down to what's effective, and there isn't a singular answer. We should always be considering how to maximize marketing effectiveness in any form or medium it takes. Yes, I do recognize that revenue is always the common denominator, but from whom and for what? Who is your target market? What are you trying to promote? Are you promoting the company as a whole? A key service offering? Maybe a new service offering? Are you rebranding after a merger and acquisition? There's a lot to consider. But arguably, and regardless of how you manage your digital marketing strategy, one of the most important factors in any marketing campaign is not only exposure, but repeat exposure through a targeted medium like Scientist.com. The more a client learns about your organization, the more likely you receive that request. You are awarded that order and can establish a new and repeat relationship. So with that, I will turn it back to my colleague, Sean.
Thank you, Brian. And before we begin our next section, I just want to remind the audience to submit questions via the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen, and these will be answered at the end of the presentation. Now I'll turn it over to Ghazal.
Thank you, Sean and Brian. For this next section, I'm going to be going over Scientist.com's audience demographics that you can market to. However, before diving into the different breakdowns, I'd like to provide a little background on the continuously growing audience base we have here. So last year, we saw a tremendous increase in year-over-year growth on the marketplace in regards to user adoption, new category launches, and overall spend. In 2020 alone, there were over 9,200 new scientists that joined the marketplace looking to source services. There was a 55% increase in orders, showing growth of researchers purchasing from suppliers like yourselves. The total marketplace spend was $267 million. And finally, the average increase of exposure for suppliers who participated in our marketing programs was 73%. Now that you have some background, I'd like to talk a bit more about the analytics for our audience that you can market to. We have over 30,000 members in our email subscriber base. This number encompasses both the researchers from the pharma and biotech sites, as well as our growing in-network supplier base. So whether you want to market to our entire base or maybe just suppliers or just pharma and biotech users, we can accommodate for that. One of our most successful marketing options, which is our webinars. We will go into more detail later on in the presentation, but it has the highest ROI regarding lead generation. Over 50% of our registrants that sign up to attend the webinars attend live. We have a growing social media network that we use as part of our promotional strategies for our marketing options. And there are now over 100 plus registered pharmaceutical and biotech companies that are actively using the marketplace to source for research services. Finally, we have a global audience reach of over 130 plus countries. For many of our communications and marketing campaigns, we work closely with your team to identify the best target audience for your needs. Our team can develop targeting criteria with you based on top roles, most relevant research or service areas, location, or the company or client type. For example, if you're launching a new immunoassay, we can help build a campaign with you to target, let's say, top 25 pharmaceutical researchers that are in the in vitro pharmacology or in vitro assay space in Europe.
Before we get into the subscription plans, let's take a look at our poll results. Interesting. So it looks like conference and virtual events was at the top of the list, followed closely by content marketing. Now let's see if our current offerings align with those results. Brian, take it away.
Thanks, Sean. Definitely very interesting, especially with the conferences and conventions. Especially now with COVID, and I think we can all agree that we want this to be over as soon as possible. But given that most of those events don't take place anymore, we do have the right strategies that can help you better connect with the clients. Now, we have two real plans within Scientist.com, two options, subscription and a la carte marketing, both of which have their advantages, but let's start with the subscription. One thing I like about the subscription plan is that it offers great exposure opportunities as well as repeat exposure opportunities. The best example of this relates to our homepage ads, which enable you to advertise directly on a client's homepage, putting you at the point of sale, which is something that most advertising mediums cannot compete with. Part of our role is making sure that you target the ads to the clients that actually have demand for your services. Each client uses the platform a little bit differently. Some may be chemistry heavy, others more focused on genetics and pharmacogenomics, others health economics outcomes research, others biology, and so on. So our team is here to help you tailor your strategy to maximize your return on investment by recommending the right strategy and clients to target. Another key component example would be the e-newsletters, which is a monthly newsletter that goes out to our client researcher network of over 25,000, which is especially impactful given that the vast majority of the clients that use the platform are the researchers themselves, not the operations team, it's not the procurement teams. It really is the researchers putting you in front of the right individuals that actually outsource the work that you're looking for, that you provide. Or you may consider something like the Supplier Spotlight, which I know Ghazal will touch on a little bit more in a bit, but it's really a who we are, the problems we solve, how you differentiate yourself among your competition. And what we had seen is the Supplier Spotlight is a great complement to your homepage ads. It's a public link promoted on a monthly newsletter through social media and within the public domain. So you can add it to your Scientist.com profile, your own social media, or even your company website outside of the system. Similarly, with the tech snapshot, this is a bit of a deeper dive into a specific product or service line, and we can help you demonstrate your expertise within this category of work, and it has fared well. I do encourage you to review the previous spotlights and snapshots that we have, which are available through Scientist.com's website. But with that noted, one of the key benefits of the subscription program is that it does not begin and end with advertising. Frankly, that's why we've seen these programs have minimal turnover. Our subscription program enables you to have things like market intelligence, easily one of the more popular features we've seen through mediums like our digital report. How are you performing relative to your competitors? What is your responsiveness through the platform? What is your response time on average? What is your client user rating? This is all an aggregated overview of your key metrics to help you improve your likelihood of success. Or you'd like a more specific look at the project level, which you can have access to through the request analytics, which is really something at the request level to help you identify things like how many suppliers are on that request? Are you the lowest cost? What's the average turnaround time and how do you compare? Once you have access, you can identify the trends that lead to improvements that help you expand within and arguably outside of Scientist.com. And that's why we tend to see a good deal of traffic through the subscription program. It provides you the advertising, the market intelligence, as well as efficiency gains. Most suppliers tend to stay with the program for these reasons. Even with efficiency, you can have access to invoicing, invoice receipt, client approval, expected payment dates. And that's why these subscription programs are one of the more popular features and can make sure that you're targeting and using the system in the best way possible. The subscription program is available and broken down into 3 real tiers. All signed suppliers are defaulted to the basic plan, and each tier increases with the number of features and benefits, with Elite being the best value as you get everything: advertising, market intelligence, efficiency gains, and of course, we're always welcoming the opportunity to discuss with you your strategy and how these programs fit in a one-on-one meeting. And finally, The suppliers that have leveraged our marketing and subscription programs have increased exposure and revenue as a result of their membership. For example, with Kemp Protein, they extended their exposure to over 19,000 pharma and biotech researchers, which increased traffic to their profile, which we helped them polish before subscription, and they were advertised to over 60 different existing and prospective clients. With digital marketing growing across the world, Scientist.com is one of the best resources within the pharmaceutical and biotech industry. And now I will turn it over to my colleague to discuss some of the other features available.
Thank you, Brian, for speaking to the benefits of the subscription program, which isn't the only way suppliers can differentiate themselves on the marketplace. Here to tell us more about our a la carte marketing options is Ghazal.
So aside from the monthly supplier subscriptions, we also offer a la carte marketing options that Sean mentioned that can be bought in packages or they can be bought separately as single options. The main channels for the a la carte marketing options, which you can see on the screen, are email, which is great for purchasing e-newsletter sponsorships, website advertisements. These include advertisements that are placed on the marketplace, as well as advertisements that are placed on our marketing site, which is Scientist.com. Brian did mention one of these previously regarding the homepage ads, but I will go over another opportunity that we're rolling out soon in a bit. The blog posts, these are a great way to build up your content marketing. So we receive over 3,000 views per month on our blog posts. And when you do purchase a blog with Scientist.com, which is either our supplier spotlight or tech snapshot, we do push out that blog through our e-newsletters on our website and on social media. Press releases are another great way to build up your awareness. These get published on top distribution channels and also get pushed out through social media and our e-newsletters. The webinars and live events is one of our options that we recommend for lead generation, because you're able to take the data of the attendees and registrants with you and use it within your own marketing strategies. And finally, social media. We use social media pretty heavily throughout all of our different advertising options, and I will go into each of these a little bit more over the next few slides. So the marketplace homepage ads are one of our most popular offerings. They promote your organization on the homepage of client marketplaces. As Brian mentioned, the homepage ads are included in every month-to-month plan. However, you can also purchase these separately. These ads are a great add-on for getting the word out about a product launch or a promotion that you're offering for a certain month. And you can also choose which clients you want to publish your homepage ads on. So if you're looking to target certain clients based on your business development strategy, we can help you publish these ads on those marketplaces. And based on the success of several of our suppliers, we really do recommend trying these homepage ads for at least 3 to 6 months to be able to see good ROI. Next, we have the e-newsletter sponsorships. Regarding these sponsorships, we offer within 3 of our monthly e-newsletters. Each of our newsletters contain different content and are targeted to different audiences. The Innovate, which is distributed to our entire user base, is our monthly e-newsletter that covers everything from new technologies, company updates, tips and tricks, best practices for users and suppliers, as well as some other great content. The Marketplace Champions newsletter is distributed to about 300 of our main procurement and executive contacts at our client sites. And the newest opportunity, the Category Connect, is a targeted e-blast that's sent to researchers based on the research area they purchase. So if you're looking for something a little bit more targeted and in the space of your research area, we can work with you on the Category Connect. So you really have the freedom to choose the content and URL you want to place for your promotion. And as you can see in the example, we have Indigo Biosciences advertisement in our e-newsletter. So if you have a new product launch, we can definitely work with you to help get the word out through our e-newsletters. Next, we have the blog, so the Supplier Spotlight and Text Snapshot that Brian mentioned previously. These are offered as part of the subscription plans, but you can also purchase them separately as well. The Supplier Spotlight is a Q&A style blog post that features your company and new initiatives you're working on, while the Tech Snapshot is a content piece that features a unique technology that you're looking to promote. And in general, these blogs are just a great way to build SEO for your services and to use as part of your product launch plan. So if you're releasing a new product or you're looking to get into a new category and you want to have content already within the public domain, we can help you publish this content on our blogs and distribute it through our social media and e-newsletters. And next we have our co-branded press releases. So with this option, your organization will receive expert copy consulting as well as channel selection and distribution on top global or domestic life science press release channels. Our press releases receive over 10,000 reads and are often picked up by other media outlets. And they do best when written about a novel technology or large announcement of a company initiative. And with many events and conferences still virtual, which it was really refreshing to see that, one of the main areas you might be pushing your marketing dollars is through conferences. And with those still virtual webinars and virtual events are a really great way to channel in those marketing dollars. So our webinar opportunities have been one of our most successful sponsorships because your organization will receive full support through the process, from helping you select the topic and the title to choosing your panelists, building, hosting, promoting the registration through all of our communication channels, hosting and recording the live event, and then we actually edit the final video and develop a summary blog post that will be posted on our website. At the end of the webinar, you will not only receive the full lead list with the audience demographics and the behaviors, but you will also receive the final MP4 file that you can use within your own content. So just a side note is if you're interested in doing these virtual events, please be sure to book the webinars well in advance because we do require a minimum 8-week lead time to be able to prepare a successful event for you. So moving into some of our newer options, we have a few new opportunities that you can now take advantage of. So you can place your organization's logo on our rotating logo carousels that are placed on landing pages for a full month. So on the screen, you should see an example of one of our landing pages with a carousel. This one's static, but on our website, I promise you it's moving. You can place your logo on there, and this is a great option for brand awareness, especially since our website receives thousands of visitors per month. And finally, we have a request advertisement opportunity. We've just launched these advertisements, and they allow you to advertise to your organization on the exact page researchers use when placing requests. The placement of this ad is extremely powerful and targeted because you have final opportunity to promote yourself right at the point of sale. So I'd like to end with a success story received from one of our suppliers. Vector Builder utilized the Scientist.com marketing opportunities to target clients they were interested in working with. After about 6 months, Vector Builder had received a number of new leads that translated into fruitful relationships, and they increased their number of orders. They were also able to improve their overall supplier rating, which made them more likely to receive orders in the future. So before we lead into the Q&A portion, we have one last exciting announcement for you. So I would like to hand it back to Brian.
Thanks, Ghazal. We're very pleased to announce that Scientist.com has recently acquired HealthEconomics.com. A pioneer in the field, HealthEconomics.com is the most comprehensive and credible connected community that serves as a global link to health economics and outcomes research, HEOR, as well as pharma market access stakeholders and communities. Partner with Scientist.com, HealthEconomics.com provides a single global link to the health economics and outcomes research, real-world evidence, and market access stakeholder communities. If you are a supplier for HEOR, RWE, we would be happy to facilitate a connection and discuss how we can increase your awareness, generate leads, and drive sales across our well-connected client base. And with that, I'm happy to hand it back to my colleague, Sean.
Thank you, Brian and Ghazal. Those were very informative presentations filled with, I know, a lot of information. So make sure and ask questions to follow up with that. And I see that the audience has some questions, so let's get right to them. The first question is, how often are request analytics provided?
Sean, I'm happy to take that one. Essentially immediately. So if you were part of the subscription plan and you received a request today, you'll have access to those request analytics as well as for previous requests. The core goal is to help you build up the market intelligence that you wouldn't normally have. And by providing that information up front, it enables you to tailor your strategy for that request and just in general based on the aggregated results.
All right, great, thank you, Brian. I have another one here. How important is my profile, supplier profile, I'm assuming, relative to the marketing programs?
That is a great question. So the profile is essentially the foundation of how clients can find you. Going from your short description, what they first see, to how you show up in requests, which is your research areas, to any marketing or media that you include that's free as part of the profile. So you have to think about the profile as really the foundation, and any advertisement that, if you consider the homepage ad, brings that client back so they can learn more about your organization, the services you provide, the RFIs that you've completed. Also, those researchers can make an informed decision. Now, in my experience, researchers tend to be very thorough individuals. So any marketing or advertising you do through the platform, that's why we want to have that strategy discussion up front, so we can understand your goals, make sure your profile is polished, and then leverage that as part of any marketing for homepage ads, spotlight, webinars, so on and so forth.
All right, thank you, Brian. Perfect, questions are starting to flow in now pretty frequently. Here's a good one. Do you have pricing structures for subscription or a la carte options that are suitable for small companies?
Yes, so short answer, we do. Long answer, we really do have a marketing package or marketing options available for all ranges of your budget. So looking for something for a smaller company, the homepage ads are a very affordable option. You can purchase them one client for $300 up to 5. So depending on your budget, we will work with you to try to find the best options, and also whichever options would help your own strategy get a bigger boost. So Brian, I'm not sure if you had anything else to add for that one.
No, that was perfect.
And then this next one is a very common question that we have actually received several times across these training webinars. As a supplier, can we see how our profile appears for customers or clients?
In short, yes, but there's not a proactive means whereby you can log onto the system and see that view. What I would recommend as part of any follow-up meetings that we have resulting from this webinar, send us an email and we're happy to kind of go through, so that way we can provide you what it looks like. We can also provide you with the best practices to make sure that everything does look good and that it is as fully polished as possible. I've been here for almost 4 years, and it's incredibly rare for me to see a perfect profile. So for just about any supplier that's on this call, I'm sure there are little things that we can tweak just to make sure you are maximizing your exposure.
All right, thanks, Brian. Here's a little bit more specific one. How can we find out more about the webinar advertising and options?
So if you're interested in purchasing a webinar advertising, please reach out to marketing@scientist.com. And we have a couple one-pagers as well as a best practices PDF that we can send over to you. And if everything looks good, we'll work with you on setting a date and then go from there.
Thanks, Ghazal. Here's a good one. When a researcher submits a request, how does scientist.com select a suitable supplier for this request to be moved onto a quote?
So this is a very good question, and it's worthwhile to highlight that scientist.com is not the one that's selecting the suppliers. Scientist.com is really acting as the connection point so that researcher can identify suppliers. The most direct response to that question is making sure that your research areas as part of your profile are kept up to date. If you provide next generation sequencing, but you don't have that listed as a research area, you will not show up in that search result. So it really is just making sure your research areas are kept up to date so the clients can find you and make the right selection.
All right. And this one's kind of related to an earlier question. As a startup company, how do we start using the platform, scientist.com? Like, what is probably the best way to start using the platform as a startup company?
The first step would be creating a profile, assuming you don't already have one. With that, you'll fill out your short description, who your company is, what your differentiators are, build out your services, which are your research areas, complete any marketing related media that you'd like to include, and of course, signing the agreement. And with all of those components combined, you'll be available for any client that searches for you based on your service portfolio. And if you'd like to discuss more, then you send us a note to either suppliers@scientist.com or subscriptions@scientist.com, and we'll be able to get you in touch with the right individuals to build your profile out, address any questions, and make sure that you're set up for success.
All right, thanks. And then let's see, one more. I know Ghazal had kind of touched on this, but maybe you can kind of provide a synopsis as well, because I know there's different options. How can I best target specific clients?
So there are a few different ways you can do that. The first, if you're looking for more of which options would help you do this, definitely the homepage ads as well as the newly launched request level advertisements are a really great way to directly target clients. If you're looking for more of a broad scope, our e-newsletters, they do reach our entire user base. So it is a great way to get a more holistic catch-all, I guess, of all of our different clients. But as far as targeting clients specifically, I would definitely say the homepage ads and request level ads. And you can work with us, myself, Brian, and our supplier relations team to find which clients would be best suited for you based off of your research area and their request history, I would say. And then we can see which availability there is depending on the different marketplaces and get you calendared in. So please reach out to us and we'd be happy to help you.
All right, thanks. And then here's kind of a general catch-all. Which marketing services have been the most popular?
It's a loaded question because they all tend to feel a little bit popular, but I would say the Spotlight has gotten a lot of traction. The Tech Snapshot, but at least in my experience, and Ghazal, you may be able to expound on this, but the subscriptions, since they're a monthly program, you have the ability to tailor month over month. So, you may have do the premium subscription, which gives you 4 homepage ads as well as the Spotlight, and then you can tailor your approach month over month. as opposed to just doing a one shot. The biggest thing, and I mentioned this a little bit earlier, relates to not only getting exposure in front of the right sort of target market, but also repeat exposure. And that's why I think we tend to see a good deal of traction within the subscription. But Ghazal, maybe you want to talk a little bit more about the popular a la carte ones.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. I think the subscription plans are very successful because you're not only getting the marketing options, so you're not only getting the homepage ads and the supplier spotlights, but you're also getting enhanced features on the website. So you're able to get more analytics regarding your request histories or analytics on the marketplace, as well as request level analytics. If you do a lot of purchases or services through the through the marketplace, excuse me, you do have the invoicing tracking feature. So it's a really great combination of upgraded features as well as unique marketing opportunities. And it's very cost effective. It's a month-to-month price, so you can sign up or cancel at any time, except for the elite, but that's a different story. And then as far as the a la carte marketing options, the newsletter ads do book up fast. So I would say if that's something you're looking at, to make sure to get in contact with us quickly. And more recently, I would say the webinars have become more popular just because we still are in the COVID era and people are looking to get some good lead generation that they're not able to get with the conferences and networking events.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Right, we had a good one just come in. Do customers look for specific products on scientist.com, or do they look for specific suppliers?
That's a good question. It varies, to be honest. Sometimes they have an exact supplier in mind and they know they're on the platform. But honestly, we'd say about, at least in the statistics that I've seen, around 70+% of the time, they look for a particular product or service. And I'll just keep picking on next generation sequencing as an example. But if you provide that type of a service, the client will search for that service. They'll build out the details of the request that will inevitably be sent to the suppliers that researcher selects. But you show up on that list because you've indicated that you provide that service. So the short answer is that they usually do search for a product or service, identify the suppliers, and that's how a majority of the requests come through the platform today.
Thank you, Brian. This is an interesting one. Can you help us evaluate our marketing strategy prior to purchasing marketing services?
Yes, that is one of the core intents. My biggest fear, and sorry, Ghazal, if I jumped in, but my biggest fear with any sort of marketing endeavor through scientist.com is that we go in and just purchase something and then we don't really have the right look and feel of your profile, of your strategy, who you're targeting, what you're targeting them for. So the goal would be, let's go through what your strategy is. Let's go through all of the nuances of scientist.com. And honestly, I've had meetings like that. And after going through everything, they say, this is helpful, but we're not interested in marketing. That's okay. But most of the time, they usually say, this is helpful. Let's do the premium or the elite subscription because it does have all the sort of bells and whistles. So yes, we want to help you with your strategy. And that's part of the service that we can provide as it relates to the marketing on scientist.com.
Great. And then one just came in. Let me look at it. How do we reach out to the probable buyers how do I reach out to the probable buyers for my services? Do you have any upcoming webinar in the subject for beginners?
So we do, since this is part of our supplier training series, we do have some previous webinars that helped address that question that we can send you the recordings of. But I would say what Brian said, as soon as you sign up on the marketplace, if you're a new supplier, make sure your profile and your research areas are completed, because if a researcher does place a request and it matches one of the research areas on your profile and you've been active, you do have a pretty good chance of being placed on that request. Brian, if you had anything to add for that question.
Yeah, I would only add that the way that the structure of requests that come through the platform, it's not an open source platform in the sense that a client will say, I have a need for, and I'm just going to keep picking on next-gen sequencing. I have a need for next-gen sequencing, and then any supplier within the network can bid on that. It's more of that researcher will see a list of suppliers and make their decision from there on who receives the request and, of course, who is inevitably awarded that request. But the best thing you can do is your profile, to Ghazal's point, and making sure that anything that you offer is reflected within that profile. And then by complementing your profile with the marketing opportunities, it gets you more directly in front of these researchers. So that way they do have a new option and they can evaluate your organization based on your profile, as well as based on the increased exposure you've gotten from marketing.
All right, thank you, Brian. And then I see, sure this is probably one many of you have. How much is the premium subscription?
So all of the pricing and more information about the a la carte marketing options and all of the pricing for the different options will be sent in the follow-up link, as well as a link to the back office where you can see all these options and the pricings on there. So keep an eye out for that follow-up email, and hopefully all of your questions will be answered through that.
All right, and if Brian's nothing to add to that and there's no further questions, I think we're going to wrap it up then for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any additional questions, or if you'd like to get in touch with us, our information is available on this slide. As you leave the webinar, you'll see a quick survey. We'd greatly appreciate if you could fill this out. Also, as a quick reminder, there's one more webinar in our supplier training series coming soon. You can see the date here and register on the same link you used to register for this one. We'll include that link in the follow-up email as well. Thank you again for joining us, and we hope you found